Hi YouTube, it is I, Mr. Zero, of Mr. Zero Telluride, the clown slash comic slash storyteller, actor, comedian, guy who talks to people because he's bored and can't communicate with people face to face, so he communicates to a camera on his laptop. Um, and thinking of things to talk about, because I don't know why I do these vlogs, but I do them, and I always want something interesting but maybe odd to talk about. I just thought of something that hasn't happened to a lot of people, and I'm gonna probably entitle this with "Has this ever happened to you?" I happen to be working, or no, not working. Okay, I'm starting off on the wrong foot. Um, Let me set the scenario for you. It's a beautiful, beautiful scenario too. I'm videotaping the assembly performance of my daughter's last day of preschool with the old fashioned camcorders with the tapes in it, not these flash drive things, nothing fancy that you just automatically hook up to YouTube and say, "Hey, look at my life." No, no, it's the old kind where you're like, "Hey, look at my life," to yourself. You take it home and you watch it. So I'm sitting there videotaping my daughter. I think at this point she was doing something with tapping sticks. I was in preschool. I think she was 3 at the time, 3 or 4. I'm not quite sure how old she was. But while I'm videotaping it, my phone happens to ring a couple times. I notice that it's my sister-in-law. At this point of my life, I was living with my wife, my daughter, her sister, and her son, and 2 other adults all in one house. And we had bought the year previously for my daughter's birthday. We had gotten her a kitten, and this cat, now fully sexually mature, had had kittens. Unfortunately, no one had thought that this was going to happen, but it did. So spay and neuter your pets, please. But it had had kittens, and we were doing our best to get rid of them, getting them to good homes, and a few of them were still left. And one of them happened, this happens with cats. They crawl into places that they shouldn't be. I've heard many a story of cats ending up in engine blocks and getting eaten up by engines. Well, on this videotape, you can hear me talking on the phone. My sister-in-law saying, "Hey, I turned on the dryer, the washer dryer. I turned on the dryer," she's telling me, "and I heard a cat screaming, so I turned it off. The cat's still inside there screaming. Should I keep the dryer running and just kill it, or what should I do?" And I'm like, "Well, don't kill it. That's a little cruel. Why don't you wait for me to come home and figure out what I can do?" And so I had to go, being the only man in the house, I had to go get my tools and tear apart a dryer, which I had never done before. I mean, it's all pretty basic, but I had to tear apart the dryer and get inside to save this poor, poor animal. And it was terrible. It blood everywhere. What had happened to the poor thing is it got tangled up in the belts that run a dryer. I don't know. If you don't know how the workings of a dryer is, there's a motor that runs a belt that runs the tumbler, and she had gotten caught up in the motor and in the belt, and it had ripped her flesh from her body in a certain position, all off of this paw, or this paw. One of her paws was completely degloved, is the term, and she was in severe pain, screaming. As I said, there was blood, and I had to actually sit there. I had to say, "Someone get me my knife," and I had to cut skin off of the cat and off of the belt in order to free her. And the minute I freed her, she was out, boom, took off, and one of the adult roommates, who was pretty much the one that was in defense of the cat's name was Turtle. She had named it Turtle because of its coloring. I named the cat Lucky after this. To me, that was one lucky cat. She had taken it to the hospital, to the veterinarian. This is why I tend to hate a lot of veterinarians. But she had taken it to the veterinarian, and they said it would cost her like so many $1,000s to get skin grafts and everything for this cat. And so then my roommate sits there and says, "Well, what other options do I have?" And they said, "Well, we can euthanize it for you for $300, of course." And she calls me up crying. They want to euthanize her. They said it will cost, and she wants us to come up with a solution to the problem. She wants us to find a way to get the money to raise for the cat to live, or she wants us to find ways to raise the money to kill the cat. And we're like, "Are you kidding me? They're gonna sit there and charge you?" I said, "No, that's ridiculous. Have them bandage the cat up, see if they can give it some sort of little kitty painkillers, maybe some sort of topical salve, and I'm sure the skin will grow back." And she sits there and she talks to that vet, and they says, "No, no, skin won't grow back. No, this cat's gonna die." And I said to her, I says, "Okay, if it's gonna die, it's gonna die. You don't need to euthanize it. You don't need to worry about that. We'll try to make it as comfortable as we can and bury it in the backyard. Um, or there are ways to euthanize a cat at home that aren't always pleasant to think about, but you can do it." But so and I said, "Well, get a second opinion." She ended up going to another veterinary clinic, one that I would recommend to other people. If you live in the Utah area, I'll direct you to this one. They're very nice, and that's where a lot of people take their pets because they will work with you. They understand that you don't have a lot of money to work with. So many places try to push surgery, but yeah, they said, "Okay, yeah, we'll just bandage her up. Here's a topical salve, and here's some painkillers, and bring her in a couple weeks, and we'll see how she's doing." And as I said, I pretty much figured the cat was going to be all right, and I'll talk about this on another video. But I'd lost all the skin on the top of this finger here. One day I'm going to do a video about my biggest fear, and it's going to involve this finger. But I knew that the skin would probably grow back, and not only did it grow back, but you'd never notice. Fur grew back, everything. Didn't even see scars on this animal. And as I said, I call this cat Lucky from that point on. Anyone who's wondering what I'm doing, I'm petting my Chihuahua named Loki. Actually, I think he's part Chihuahua, part Rat Terrier, but I didn't get him for show. I got him because I really needed more irritation in my life. So I needed something to come and bug me and irritate me at all days. This is me shaking my dog around. Urgh. Urgh. Say goodnight, Loki. Good night, Loki. So anyway, yeah, that's my story. I'm just wondering, has anyone else ever experienced that out there? Rate, comment, subscribe, if you will, if you find my stupid stories entertaining. I know I sound like a rambling old man on the bench. When I was a youngin', I remember when popsicles used to cost a nickel. When I was a youngin', I remember when gas used to cost $1.40. I remember when gas used to cost 99 cents. When I was a youngin', milk used to cost $1. I remember when the filet of fish at McDonald's cost $1. You could get a Happy Meal for $1.99. Happy Meal for that was their big sell. Get the $1.99 Happy Meal. Back in the old days, the 90s. Back when you had to always carry a quarter on you to make a phone call if you had to. Back when a bus ride used to cost 50 cents. Back when stamps used to, I can't remember how much stamps used to cost. I never mailed anyone. I used the phone. That little machine with the dial on it. Beep, boop, 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 beep. Are you on a touchstone? If so, if you are on a rotary dial, please hang on the line. Anyway, that's my story for today, kids. And communication! And communication! Loki, you're hurting me. Loki!